morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Have we seen the capitulation bottom here? Maybe in Apple, maybe in the overall market? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but we're getting a nice rally here this morning. We will do a technical breakdown on Apple and its big comeback on Friday. We have earnings from Lowe's and Tyson Foods. We'll also do a technical outlook on your S&P's top components. What a Friday it was for Apple.
Yep, well, according to some sources, some hedge funds got some margin calls and had to head towards the exit, cascaded toward the $500 level, but caught a bid at 505 and change and rallied up. And it's following through in the pre-market.
Yeah, it's following through. It's up 7 points here in the pre-market at 534.74, which is a good thing. I want to see follow-through in this stock today. Obviously, I put out that piece on the weekend, if you had a chance, where I talked about this V bottom right here, where you can see right here. A V bottom significant for a couple of reasons. The first reason, it doesn't give shorts a lot of chances to catch and cover their shorts, because it literally rallied 25 points in about a half an hour. Also, people who are trying to pick bottoms, it doesn't give them a chance to get in either. So what happens is you have short-term participants that are not that long the stock, or still possibly short the stock, which can actually drive it higher. It held, it obviously consolidated for a few hours between 5:20 and 5:30 Friday afternoon, but is getting some follow-through. It needs to hold above that 520 level. I would not want to see it fall under there now, because then the whole theory of this V bottom being in could be broken. So as long as it stays above 520, from my perspective, I think the stock looks good.
Yeah, we hit a high of 535.70 in the pre-market. Can remember we did have some old lows in that 536 area, so you can run it into a little bit of trouble there. After that, it opens up to Thursday's high at 539.50, and then Wednesday's high at 547.45. So things are wide open, and you get some short scrambling here. I don't think you're going to get a chance to buy this at 530 to fill the gap. I think you're going to have to stick your neck out before that.
Yeah, and if it does start to fill that gap, I'd start to get nervous anyways. So it's a tricky one to play. I mean, it has rallied the 30 points here since Friday, so hard to just come in here and say, look, that was the low and I'm going to be the buyer, but I think it might have been the low. That's how lows are made. They're not usually made where they sit around and they hang out for 4 or 5 days. When they hang out near a low price for 4 or 5 days like you've seen before, they usually break back down just because too many people have picked that bottom already.
Right.
So that's why I liked it, and I think eventually Apple's low will be like that, a V bottom like that, and hopefully this is the one. Hopefully for the longs, this is the one.
Yeah, I have to congratulate you, because when we were hanging out here right above these 530 lows, 533, 534, and you were short that put, and you're like, I know it's going through there. I know it's going through, but you held with your long-term. Yeah, you held with your long-term position.
I should have sold and re-put it on.
Well, you said you were going to do that, but you said it was a long-term trade. You were differentiating that from your short-term trading, and you wanted to stick with it. Who knows if you would have put it back on, because it was cascading down through those
It got ugly,
510 and 520. Dude. Yeah, you were just felt you were throwing darts.
It was ugly on Friday. There's no doubt about it. And the Friday morning when that thing started going down, I looked at it and it was going 515, 512, 510. I was like, man, this looks like a capitulation bottom to me. 505 and change, and then obviously just caught that bid and never looked back. So it did look like capitulation to me. We've kind of been waiting for that. Whether this is the final bottom on it, that still remains to be seen. But it's looking good for the overall market, and the market is up today. We are up 8.5 points here this morning, so getting driven higher. Let's move on to a couple news stocks. We'll touch the market back in a bit. But Lowe's, Joel. Lowe's, here they are, just like Home Depot. Remember, Home Depot had the great earnings. Lowe's comes out, good earnings. They say level of execution's improving. Everything looking good at Lowe's. 33.26 trading this morning after closing at 31.98. So much like the Home Depot numbers, Lowe's taking off as well.
Yeah, 33.80 was the high in the pre-market. That coincides with the recent high we had back on November 2nd at 33.63. So look for some major resistance between 33.63 and 33.80. Once again, Dennis, you have a real thick stock trading up quite a bit on not much volume, so you might see some profit taking in this one
Yeah,
today.
especially after what Home Depot had done. Home Depot gapped up $3 after their earnings reports, and then 3 days later, it was all the way back down to where it was, actually below where it was. So, not saying Lowe's is going to do the same thing, but sometimes these bigger cap stocks, you're right, do find sellers come in that use the opportunities when the stock's approaching a high of the move like that to lighten their positions or to flat out sell out of it. So, I'd like to obviously see it make a new 52-week high if I was going to be in the bull camp, but I'm on kind of the same page as you here. I think you might see some sellers come in and it might give back some of these gains.
Yeah, you also have, your short to medium term players that took a cue from the Home Depot earnings, everything that was going on with the hurricane, and they play it just for this move. They're not looking to hold this thing for forever. They anticipated it off the Home Depot move, and they're going to exit and move on to something else.
Yeah, it's a classic textbook paratrade that you buy it ahead of the earnings, and usually those haven't been working lately. But I think everybody's been throwing everything out here the last couple of days, so probably nobody had the guts to put that trade on. And if you were just following the Home Depot earnings that they were good and thinking Lowe's was going to be good too, you were rewarded here this morning. So and Lowe's trading higher. One other earnings stock, Tyson Foods (TSN), trading a bit higher here. It's a real low beta one, 17 and a quarter is where it's at right now after closing at 16.88. It was a nice beat though, 55 cents against estimates of 44. So Tyson Foods looking good here this morning.
Yep, very little volume here. Has traded 17 and a quarter in the pre-market. Anybody looking at the chart can see the 17 and a quarter high on November 7th, backed up by a high at 17.38 on the 6th and 17.40 on the 2nd of this month. Perhaps people are anticipating eating more chicken than turkey this Thanksgiving.
I don't know. If it started to get above that 1730, 1740 area, you do get into this gap area where we had these 4 or 5 days in a row back in early July where we went from 19 down to 17 very quickly. We always say whatever moves something quickly through an area, it can start to move up quickly too. But I think you'll find some initial resistance at Joel's number there and around that 17 and a quarter area.
They probably sell turkeys too, don't they?
I don't know. I think they sell everything. Tyson Foods or
Okay.
Foods. BP announcing a buyback. Stock trading higher on it. 40.83 is where it's at right now after closing at 40.03. Here's a stock that has had the crap kicked out of it for the last basically month, the last 10 sessions or so. Broke under 40. Kind of looks like it might have had that capitulation bottom just like in Apple too, where everybody kind of just washed out. Same time they're washing out of Apple, looks like they were washing out of a lot of different stocks. BP was another one, and then it started to rally, and obviously it's getting follow through on this buyback this morning.
Yeah, well, the easy level to pick out here. We hit 41.06 in the pre-market. No, excuse me. The pre-market high is 40.90, but we have this 2-day high at 41.06. You go back a few more days, and you have another high at 41.11. So there's gonna be some stock to clear through between 41.11.
What a wild ride on Friday for Best Buy shareholders. Here's the stock. This has just been ugly. I had this chart drawn over here from these highs before. Well, we could have kept drawing that and making it a little bit further, obviously. Stock opens there on Friday. I'll just bring you the Friday action here up on the chart. Up in the 15 area and got all the way down to 13.50 and then started to bounce and bounce towards the end of the day. Had some funny stuff and rumors going around. The rumors here this morning why it's getting a lift is that Schultz is meeting with the CEO possibly this week considering a lower bid.
Yeah, I hope all the people that ripped me on Seeking Alpha a couple months ago when I wrote that article, best buy or best sell. I mean, they told me I was everything from un-American, not being able, not being able to read balance sheets, which I can. I just look at the charts. But Yeah, I said best buy or best sell, and this thing has just been a best sell. I mean, I this Schultz guy, I mean, just the fact that he was thinking of making a 25 or $26 offer a few months ago just gives absolutely no credibility to whatever this guy says or does.
Yeah, well, the offers obviously never materialized. You just wonder if he was just trying to pump the stock up through all those in three, four different occasions, saying we're going to make a bid in the 25s, and now it's saying it is going to be lower. I do have to give you props, Joel. You've been bearish this stock probably for the last 6 months here. And when you put that article out there, you did get heat on it. Obviously, you were right. The stock continues to move down here overall, but it is getting a spike up this morning. But again, this is another Schultz spike, 1447. Will we see a bid? Maybe we see a bid eventually. I don't know, but you're right. It's not going to be in the 20s. It's not going to be in the 20s.
Yeah, there was a couple different spikes up in the pre-market. 1497 was one of them. The other one was 1492 not too long ago. So let's just call that whole area $15 as a minor resistance, and then you can move up back to the 1550 level. And this stock is basically trading below its December of '02 lows. So keep an eye. Good reference point will be that 1352 bottom.
Let's talk about some of these European banks. We haven't talked about them in a while. Deutsche Bank trading higher here this morning. Barclays looking pretty strong too. BCS 1554 on the Barclays, Joel, after closing 1498. So look at those three highs there in the 1587, 1564 area.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked about these banks. I mean, they're a little bit tougher to trade because the primary market obviously is overseas. But just looking from the pre-market activity, I give you kudos on that. That's going to be some major resistance there, 1584 to 1587. Looking at the pre-market activity, the highest we've been able, just a couple spotty trades at 1553.
Yeah, so European banks driving this market a bit higher. Obviously, the overall run back up in Apple's helping the market as well. So market is looking pretty good. Before we get to that, let's look at a couple key S&P components here. ExxonMobil had a nice reversal day on Friday as well, making a new low there, and then the same story just started coming back. Basically, at around the same time Apple bottomed at around 11 o'clock, it caught a bid, rallied two straight dollars, pulled back a bit, has continued up here as well. I mean, you're looking at all these charts, it looks like that was like a little bit of the capitulation bottom in all these things.
Yeah, you're getting a gap up here, which is always tough. I mean, I don't think you're going to get a chance to buy this near yesterday's high at 86.71. That would be real good support now. I think you might have to bump your bids up to the $87 level and perhaps use that 86.71 as a reference point to stop out. The 87 handle just looks kind of thin to me with offers until you get up to this 87.99. That's the 4-day high.
Yeah.
If things can continue, I'd say that would be good resistance. You probably got some nice round orders kicking around there at that $88 level.
IBM, same story, had a bottom, a potential double bottom you were saying, putting in here at this whole 185 level, which is looking like it's nice support now.
Yeah, you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait on this one unless you want to buy it on a gap up. There was two highs, Thursdays and Fridays highs, 187.20 and 187.56. So maybe if you get an up open and then you get a week longs washing it out there, you might be able to get this one at 187.50. That would be good support. Coming on the upside, I just don't see any resistance here until 189.27, which was Wednesday's high.
Microsoft is another one that has just been getting killed for about 4 or 5 straight sessions here. Did that thing bottom on Friday here as well? It is getting a lift here this morning.
Yeah, and it's opening up into resistance. Friday's high was 26.70. We have peaked above that in the pre-market, getting up to 26.78. This is one of those trades where you can buy it off the hop here. You're not really looking at a gap up situation. Give yourself 10, 12 cents. If it starts to pull back, under 20, 26.55 or so, you might have to think about an exit. But you see this right here, this high when 29, we made that high 29.01 about 5 days ago.
Yeah.
That's when I was thinking of buying Microsoft.
That's bad. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a good buy, Joel.
You got me all you got me all excited about the
I like the
surface and everything.
surface. Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the stock's got to go. But I've been thinking this thing's going to go since it was like at 32. So maybe I save myself a couple points
Yeah,
here.
I don't know if I like the Surface product. I'm gonna give them that. I think it's an actual better product. I was playing around with it, like I said last week in Chicago. I like it better than I thought I was gonna like it, but I just don't know. I don't know if I can come in here and buy Microsoft just because the chart is so damn ugly.
That's probably a reason to buy it,
I
man.
know, well, maybe it
Just gotta
is.
turn your head upside down and look at
Is
it.
that what
You
you
know.
do? Is that what you do when you got an ugly chart? Just flip it upside down. It makes it look better. Citigroup C, that's getting a lift here this morning. A lot of financials are up here this morning. We're getting a broad-based rally. Like we said, we're up 9 points now. It is very broad-based. 35.59 is where Citigroup's trading after closing at 34.98. Same story again. Around 11 o'clock, this thing caught a bid and rallied almost a buck, and then came back and closed near the highs of the day.
Yeah, it seems to be finding a seller here right around 35.58, 35.59. It's been a few trades holding it there. Nothing major, though. If the rally continues in this, you got a high at 35.80, only 20 cents away from there. That was the high on Thursday. Then things open up quite a bit, Dennis, up into the mid 36s. That'd be a pretty big move today for Citigroup.
One we haven't talked about for a while is AIG. I still have that in my investment account for full disclosure. Stock has turned around here. It looks like it might have finally bottomed. I mean, AIG has had an awful month. There's no doubt about it. After it peaked up there in the 37.10, 37.67 area, it's been straight down for $6. Looks like on a couple days ago it might have found the low at 30.64. Now it's just doing a slow, steady climb, but closed strong on Friday and starting to get into a resistance area here in this 32.20, 32.30 area.
Yep. You had three highs between 31.58, 31.85. We cleared those so far in the pre-market. So look for a pullback if you want to try and buy it on the cheap, maybe to 31.80. And then you're exactly right. There were three highs between the 8th and the 12th of this month, between 32.27 or 32.18 and 32.31. So see opening up into a little bit of resistance. I wouldn't call it major resistance, though.
Overall market thoughts are after the big comeback on Friday when we looked like the end of the world was going to happen and we were starting to sell off here. We rallied hard and then we've just continued to rally all afternoon Friday. Overnight session we've been rallying. We are now up 9.5 points here, Joel. Have we seen the bottom in this market?
Well, do you really I know it was a long time ago, but you know what the rally was predicated
Was it your
on Friday?
1342 number?
No, yeah,
Joel was saying he
yeah,
loved that 1342
yeah.
number. Had his number. He went through it.
Did, but I really can't. I really have to give a little bit more credence to the talk of the fiscal cliff being
Yeah,
avoided.
yeah.
And we were hitting the lows, and you get a couple congressmen out there talking Boehner and whatnot about resolving that, which they're going to have to do, and the market just took off, and that's why the technicals do play a role, but when you're trading, you got to keep your news wires up.
Yes.
As nauseating as CNBC is, you got to listen to it. A lot of times, when they flash to the congressman or whatever, I mean, usually the spoos take off before that, because of the, little bit better information for some of our bigger traders. But, the fundamentals changed it. Looking at these levels, I just don't want to get too carried away on the upside because that's always a good selling point. But there's really no major resistance here in the 1370 handle as well. You're just going to have to hopefully try and buy a pullback here. Maybe get a pullback to 1365 during the day session to try some longs, or you can just jump in head first with the spoos up 10 and hope the rally continues.
Yeah, the market was oversold. There was no doubt about it, and it was looking for a catalyst, and I think it found that catalyst on Friday, obviously, and the market turned around and started rallying. And that's what happens, where the market was looking for some fundamental, somebody to say something good, so we have an excuse to come in here and buy it. And that's what they did, and they came with their buying shoes on hard, picking all the stocks that were, that were awesome, them for the better part of the year, but just got killed in the last month, and those were the ones they were picking. And Apple was, the one they were picking the most here as it just continued to rally up. I agree with you, Joel. I don't think there's much resistance in the 1370s, which is scary to try to pick your spot to short. But if you get into the 1380s, this is where I drew this line here. You have multiple lows and high, well, you have multiple highs there from about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, where we topped out in the mid 1380s a couple of times. So if you get up another 10 or 15 points from here, I think you're going to start to find sellers.
Yeah, maybe maybe it's the old Turkey Day rally. Maybe we'll see that on Wednesday.
That's our show for today, folks. Have a great trading day. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow.